57, the jury having reached a verdict of guilty as to all 12 counts in the indictment. Is the state ready to proceed with sentencing?
The state is ready to proceed with sentencing, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready to proceed?
The defense is ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Does the state have evidence in aggravation?
Yes, Your Honor. The state intends to call two witnesses and one statement that I will ask Ms. Ashdown, our victim witness advocate, to read. So the state would call, would the court like me to proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, the state would call Megan Membane to the stand. Ms. Mebane will be speaking on behalf of the family of Mindi Mebane, Your Honor. Do you wish her to be there?
She might be more comfortable just sitting up there. Please raise your right hand before you're seated.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. I just ran up the stairs, so sorry if I'm...
Just hold on. Just catch your breath.
Okay, let's see. All right. I've kept up with the entire trial and decided to drive 3 hours this morning to be here because I couldn't let this chapter of my life end without at least saying something. Unlike you, I have cried a lot over the last few weeks. My thoughts, anxiety, and emotions have been a roller coaster. They have been all over the place while having to deal with this trial. I go through anger, sadness, frustration, grief, stress, and every feeling that you can think of. You lived with us for 15 months with providing no financial contributions. 15 months that I will never be able to get back. At times when you lived with us, I told you how your actions had affected me, and this impact statement isn't much different. Whether you take away anything from this, that is not my intention at this point. You've shown no guilt and absolutely no remorse. You haven't even shed a tear. You thrive on the illusion of power and attention. You're a pathological liar, sociopath, psychopath, murderer. You thought you were so much smarter than everyone else, but you aren't. You wanted people to believe you were a victim of abuse, while you were the one being abusive, at least mentally. You have forever changed the meaning of trust for me and our family. I can no longer trust people in the same way as I did before you continuously lied and ultimately took Mindy's life. There will always be some questions that will go unanswered, but to answer them would mean to try to understand a murderer's mindset, and that is one I will never understand. Mindy was bright, beautiful, empathetic, confident, independent. She loved music and making others feel special. She always put her family and friends first. Once my husband Frank and I had our daughter, Mindy wanted to choose a name that was different than the traditional aunt name. She decided on Lulu. She was never able to hear her sweet niece call her that. My daughter was 5 months old when y'all moved in. She will never know the fun times they experienced together. I'm thankful my daughter does not remember the 15 months you lived with us and sat right next to her at the dinner table. My daughter will never be able to experience the love her Aunt Mindy would have continued to give her. Mindy was taken too soon. No one should have to live through the violent and gruesome murder of a family member. You're a very evil man. When I learned the news of what really happened to Minnie, some of my first thoughts were that I couldn't believe that evil man lived in my house in a bedroom next to my 5-month-old daughter. You have no remorse for what you did. This loss has impacted so many beyond our family. The emotional wound you have caused will never heal. We have comfort knowing she is in heaven now, free from the trials and scars of this earth. We have overcome hatred, darkness, and evil. She is looking down on us now, being proud of how we have overcome. We are done being victims. We are taking back our lives. Since I'm a science person, I'm going to quote Isaac Newton. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Our family believes you deserve the maximum sentence, life without the possibility of parole, because Mindy doesn't have a parole. You deserve to sit in prison for the rest of your life and think about Mindy every single day. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. You can raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
There are people literally all over this world that have been impacted by Mindy's life, and I'm here to speak on behalf of them. I always say my worlds collided with Mindy. Not only was she my high school friend, but after moving to Savannah, all of my college friends became her friends too. My roommates became her roommates. My church group became her church group. This entire trial has rightly been focused on what happened to Mindy, but Mindy was so much more than what happened to her. She was a bright light, vibrant, generous, funny, caring, a defender of others, passionate, trustworthy, and so much more. If anyone in her life would have been in her position, she would be standing right here today speaking for them. Nick, you slowly and strategically tried to dampen her light, isolating her from the people she deeply loved, robbing her of time, laughter, creating memories and peace, always living in fear and isolation. She loved you and trusted you to tell her the truth, to protect her, to live out your marriage vows, and yet you were the one that she needed protection from. Her death has had and will have an eternal impact on those that loved her. There are dinner tables and holiday pictures and memories that will be absent of her. There are little girls growing up without their fairy godmother. There are friends who will always ache to dress up and go out for drinks again. Email inboxes void of her opinions on the latest happenings in politics. Friends who can't expect her to stand with them in their proudest and hardest moments. Friends who won't have her in the audience of their concerts or harassing them for their latest released music. My everyday life in Savannah is now filled with the awareness that my friend was living and suffering within walking distance of my house. And I never knew. I will never be able to drive down 65th Street, go to a Smoothie King, pick up meds at CVS, or buy tennis shoes at our local shoe store without being haunted by the fact that you were frequenting all of those places for 5 months while my friend of over 20 years was suffering in fear and isolation as I drove mere feet from her driveway. But it's not just me and her friends that will miss out. This entire world is impacted by the ending of her life too soon. There are compelling women whose stories she will never get to tell on her podcast. There are strangers who will never know the beauty of the sound of her laughter or the impact of her most fiercest eye roll. Your conviction can't bring her back. It just means that you can't do it to anyone else. But every person you heard from on the stand and the many who are watching right now from a distance will never stop keeping the truth of who she was and her memory alive. You may have taken her life, but you will never be able to take her legacy, and she would want you to know that today.
Your Honor, the state has one final statement that I'm going to ask to be read into the record. That statement would be read by Ms. Samantha Ashdown, our victim witness advocate, on behalf of Samantha Kolesnik.
All right.
And the defense will object to the reading of that statement, as Ms. Kolesnik, while obviously a victim of the circumstances here, is not a victim under the law that would be entitled to read the statement to the court.
But Judge, my position on that, as the court is aware, is that this is evidence in aggravation, not a victim impact statement.
It is. I'll overrule the objection. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes. There's no need to swear.
To the court and to the Honorable Judge Rose, my name is Samantha Kolesnik, and I am a victim of the defendant Nicholas Kassotis, a.k.a. Nicholas Stark, the latter of which is the name he used while victimizing me in Pennsylvania. You were able to hear my testimony against Nicholas during this trial, and you were able to hear and see my pain and my tears firsthand. I recounted his horrible acts of deception against me. I trembled taking the stand to testify. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but I did it because I feel Nicholas is a true and constant danger to everyone he meets. I feel that if given the chance, Nicholas will continue to exploit, abuse, deceive, and harm others. I testified knowing I would be filmed against my consent and that I would be humiliated in admitting I was defrauded by a man I met online, and that my privacy would be forever gone. I testified anyway because I strongly feel and believe that Nicholas is a danger to society and that he must be held accountable. Ms. Bayo, ADA for the prosecution, mentioned ripples from Nicholas's dropping stone as an analogy for an impact of his choices. I am one ripple. I have not been the same since I found out about his deception from Agent Sands, and I will never be the same again. On the date of his arrest, when Agent Sands of the GBI told me Nicholas Stark was not his real name and that Nicholas had been lying to me, my entire world turned upside down. My sense of trust shattered. I felt humiliated, deceived, traumatized, and unsure if I would ever be able to feel joy or hope or trust again. I also felt stupid and will continuously be called stupid and gullible by some in the public eye, as a result of trusting a man who was once a naval officer, a JAG, an employee of the Pentagon, a man who had every opportunity and privilege in life. Everyone trusted Nicholas, and he knew it, and he privately relished and delighted in lying to them and in abusing that trust. He is a man who delights in deception, a man who thinks he's smarter than everyone in the room he walks in. I also felt terrified beginning on the date of his arrest and thereafter, and will forever be haunted by what he would have potentially happened to me if the GBI and Detective Jack Frost's team had not tracked, found, and arrested Nicholas Stark, a.k.a. Kassotis, when they did. I fully believe that the wonderful law enforcement agencies of Georgia saved my life that day, and I will be forever grateful to them for saving me from the evil man who goes by many names, one of them being Nicholas Stark. I was diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, as a result of Nicholas Stark's cruel actions towards me. I have nightmares, flashbacks, and panic attacks. I lock my bedroom door every night. I do not feel deceived by Nicholas Stark, a.k.a. Kassotis. I feel raped by him. I was not allowed to consent to a romantic and intimate relationship with Nicholas because he lied about his entire identity to me. There was no opportunity for true consent, and he ensured that with his vast network of lies. This is called rape by fraud, but unfortunately is not recognized in Pennsylvania, so all I could do was pursue an annulment on the basis of his fraud. I am sure Nicholas Stark, since he is a lawyer after all, knew those statutory limitations when he deceived me. I do not feel Nicholas feels 1 ounce of shame or remorse for his deceptions against many people, including those he perpetrated against me. He has sat in this courtroom and has attempted to make every mockery of it with his smug expressions, his arrogant demeanor, and his lack of tears as his victims, one after the other, have talked about how he deceived them. I beg and implore and plead to the court, please give this man the maximum sentencing. And please, if at all possible, by sentencing protocol and legislation, please do not allow this man to do paid interviews or in any way profit from his crimes. Nicholas, due to his sick need for control and his sadistic desire to humiliate and defraud others, will absolutely try to profit off his crimes in prison. Please do not allow Nicholas to write books or to sign movie deals or even take paid interviews. He must not be allowed to extract any more from the victims than he already has taken so much. I also ask that he not be granted any chance for parole. A man who lies as much as Nicholas has and will always be a danger to society, especially the most trusting and vulnerable among us. Sincerely, Samantha Kolesnik.